Okay, so what we're going to do today in the video is just recap methods of training. What I want you to do, ideally, I'm going to give you two options, but you're going to create a learning map or a mind map on the methods of training. And what I want you to include, and what I want you to ensure, is that you've got a sentence that tells us what that type of training is and what it looks like. And then, importantly, alongside that, why do we do it? So what energy system does it develop and what fitness components can it develop? So the first one, interval training. Generally, the easiest example to think of when we think about interval training are sprints. Essentially, the performer will work at high intensity for a short period of time, and that period of high intensity work will be followed by a rest. That form of training will develop the ATP-PC system, or if you do longer sprints with less rest time, you can also develop the lactic acid system. So that is predominantly a method of training that will develop your anaerobic system. Circuit training then is a popular method of training, and there's good reason for that. That is because you can tailor that to any fitness component or to any sport that you like. Again, with circuit training, you can target the anaerobic training zone by working at high intensity, generally with stations lasting 30 to 60 seconds. You're going to be targeting the lactic acid system, particularly because of the repetition and the length of time that you're working at high intensity for. Continuous training then involves working at a moderate intensity for a long time. So if we link that back to the energy systems video that I did, that would tell us that that type of training would target the aerobic zone. So you're working between 60 and 80% of your maximal heart rate, and by working in that zone, you'll develop your aerobic system. We've also discussed in class that the higher into that aerobic system that your continuous training takes you, if it takes you to the borderline of your anaerobic threshold, then you're more likely then to make the best improvements and overload that aerobic system. Fartlek training then, we talked about in class as an activity that is useful for games players. So that will involve changes in speed. So walking, jogging, sprinting at certain points. You may set out cones and jog between the red cones and sprint between the green, or it may be a coach with a whistle that dictates the changes in speed. That one is going to develop both the aerobic and anaerobic zone, because there are going to be times where you're working moderately and times where you're working at high intensity. When you're doing your sprints within fartlek, that's going to develop components of fitness like speed. Flexibility then, with this one, this is something that we tend to do at the beginning and at the end of sessions, but in terms of injury prevention, flexibility training plays a big role in elite level sport. If you look at the link, there's a really good section on flexibility, and you can just then have a look at the different types of stretches, active, passive, dynamic and PNF, and get an idea of what they actually mean. Plyometrics is the use of rebound to develop explosiveness, so essentially jumping and bounding. Using boxes to jump on and off, using hurdles to jump over, could be single leg or double leg bounds and jumps. That develops power and explosiveness in the athlete's legs. Okay, so again, probably targeting the ATP-PC system because it's explosive. But again, if you're working lots and lots of sets and you're depleting those ATP-PC stores, it's also going to target the lactic acid system. Weight training then is dependent on the amount of weight and the number of reps that you lift. So we discussed when you were doing your coursework that if you lifted 80% of your 1 rep max and lifted that at a low rep range, 6 to 8 reps, then that would develop muscular strength. Whereas if we wanted to develop muscular endurance, we may go at 60% of our 1 rep max and lift 15 to 20 reps. So again, depending on what you're looking to develop, if it's the ATP PC system, it's going to be that lower rep range with maybe a 2-minute rest in between sets to replenish the ATPC stores. Whereas with the rep range where you're lifting maybe 20 reps and less rest time, you're going to start developing a lactic acid system. Right, I'm just going to move this over. So before I do actually, the task I'm going to set you now is to just create a mind map or a learning mat that's going to help you revise the methods of training. So you're going to ensure, if you're doing a mind map like this, that coming off each training method, you're going to a brief sentence to explain what it is and what it looks like, and a brief sentence then as to why we do it, what does it develop, what energy system, and what fitness components. Make sure you do that concisely, okay? No long-winded sentences, just in and out as concise as you can to make it revisable essentially. So you've got that option. The other option you've got then is you can set it out as more of a grid, and I'd probably do a separate one for flexibility because there's 4 types of flexibility training that you might look into on BBC Bite Size, but you could do it like this. So you could have weight training, plyometrics, circuits, intervals, and so on, and you could put the information in there. Keep it concise, use symbols and pictures where you can, to help with getting things into your long-term memory, and where you can as well. You've probably noticed in these videos I've only got green and black colours. So if you've got different colour pens, try and make things stand out. Try and differentiate between the training methods by using different colours. Good luck with it and enjoy.